What's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 45 of Sweat Equity. Alex, I'm super excited to hear you said you got something that you think I'm going to have a unique reaction to today.
Yeah, just because it's a little different than what we usually talk about. Usually I'm looking at like apparel brands, fitness brands, health-related brands. But a lot of people do comment and ask us about content to help them grow as a musician or as an artist. And so I found somebody that has added 2,000. They've added 2 million followers since July, which is absolutely crazy. So July 1st, they had 400 and something thousand followers, which is still like a substantial amount, right? But up to date now, they have nearly 2.5 million followers. They're averaging 28,000 new followers a day. They have some days where he's adding 75, 80, 90,000 followers. The crazy thing was before that, he was actually losing followers. So before like this big just takeoff, he was losing like 70, 80, 90 followers a day. So I sent you a video. I first want you to watch it and get your actual reaction to it. The key to it to know is the song that's playing, that the skit is that they're making, the song that they're using is his song.
Got it.
Okay, so watch it.
All right. That was the whole thing?
That's the whole thing. Now go to his Reels tab though. Please go to his Reels tab and scroll down and look at the numbers.
Damn. It's pretty, 8.1, 8.7 million.
Bro, that's nothing. The one I just sent you has 80.1 million views.
Yeah, like 31 on some of these. He's going nuts.
Absolutely crazy.
This guy's just like trolling the entire internet right now.
So watch like another one or two. He did it to Gary Vee. And that shit was, let me see if I could find that one.
Got it. So he's just hitting this format over and over again, and then he incorporates some celebrities. Like I just watched the Amanda Cerny one. Respect,
Respect.
Guy. Yeah, like he committed to the bit. You can't take that away from him.
Yeah.
That's hilarious because he kind of looks like a character, but like I wasn't sure where he was going to go with this. Gary nailed that.
Nailed it.
The security guard looking back is kind of funny.
So here's the thing. He's going viral every single day. There isn't a video in that series that doesn't have over 1 million views. And realistically, like most of them have 5 to 10. A lot of them have 30 to 60. Some of them even have 80 million views. And the crazy thing is it's like just this repeatable format. We always talk about series.
Yeah.
And like doing these things that you could repeat over and over again. And like when you look at this and what he's doing, it is that. It's like this 15 to 20 minute skit that he's executing day after day after day. And it's hilarious. But again, the key to this is, so he dropped this song called Slip Away. And then they made a slowed down version of the song. And so when you're a musician or whatnot, it's like, okay, how do you get a new song to gain traction? So here's what he's doing, right? And his whole thing is he's creating these skits. And there's really 4 parts to a skit. So let's go through the breakdown. The first thing is someone or he manufactures like a scene or stunt, right? In the first video I sent you, somebody is behind him, throws water balloons, but they do it intentionally because there's like 2 girls behind him, right? And so they start off with that visual hook. It's kind of frame breaking because they're getting it on the POV from the iPhone, right? Somebody's just getting like the thing getting done, right? And then as soon as the song drops, it like flips to him, like flipping his hair around and looking at them. Low key, it kind of looks like Kate. Now that I look like the hair. Kind of looks like Cade.
No, they got that like Gen Z perm thing going on. Yeah.
So he flips around, and as soon as he flips around, his song drops, right? But the key is, if you think about it, the song is a slowed down version, and then they do his portion in slow-mo, and then on top of that, shot on a beautiful DSLR, like it's like picture perfect shot. So it's like these two, it's like flipping back and forth between the DSLR and then the iPhone reaction where like this person's like, doesn't know what's going on, right? And then this guy continues to act, and like that's part 2 and part 3, right? Part 2 is he flips around, song drops. Part 3 is they continuously like go back and forth between their reaction. Like he keeps doing more and more, and they're just like lost. They don't know what's going on. But again, it's like all partying, like going back into the song. But when you really think about this skit, and why I think this is genius if you are a musician or an artist, is the key is the song is the driving force between the entire skit. Like this skit doesn't work without that song. And so when I'm thinking about for an artist or a musician or whatever, it's like he took his product and made it okay. Like he like, it's almost like he put it down. And he's like, okay, I'm going to manufacture everything around this, not vice versa. Like somebody's usually thinking about, okay, how do I promote the song, and how am I going to do X, Y, Z to just promote the song? He's like, no, I'm just going to create content, and the core of the content is going to be my song. And it's phenomenal. Like I would literally just wanted to bring it up because I've found this 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I knew I had to talk about it, and I kept forgetting about it. But it's crazy. The fact that he's added 2 million followers, like since July, it's like, when you think about entertainment, like when we talk about top of funnel content and like having to do something that's either inspirational, motivational, educational, or entertaining, like this falls into the entertaining bit, but he also did everything else that's top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom of funnel, all in one. Like if you look at his pinned comments, for example, his pinned comments, like somebody's like, what is that song? And he's in the replies ASAP, and that pinned comment will have 10,000 likes. 15, 20,000 likes, right? So he's driving a significant amount of traction to the song as well. But overall, just like a great way to manufacture virality around a song, dude. Like I watched it, and I don't know how it ended up on my Explore feed. I'm waiting for you to add jokes about why it's on my Explore feed.
I mean, this is kind of the look that you give in every sort of thumbnail. Like what he's looking at these people with is like exactly whenever Cade pulls out the camera, that's how you look at him.
Okay, so I'm gonna.
It checks out that this like really attracted you because
you want to know why this.
It's like you saw your brother or your cousin on the feed.
All right, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm gonna show you a picture that I'm gonna regret showing you. And this was me when I was 14. And you could put this on the screen, Cade. Tell me it doesn't.
It all checks out. Dude.
It all checks out, huh?
Yeah, this is this was all a sly soft launch to Alex's music career. I mean, what this honestly reminds me of is like the OG like TikTok song blow up days where someone would pair a dance to a song, and that effectively, by creating a trend and like a easy to repeat action for someone to do, like anyone could make this video if it wasn't so hilariously cringe. Like they would maybe want to make something like this, and that would obviously get his song out there. All of a sudden it's omnipresent on the feed. That was like the golden age of TikTok, like 2019, 2020, 2021, where every song had some sort of like attached trend to it that was super easy for people to learn, especially during COVID and like learning dances and shit. So, yeah, smart move by him. I don't know, like I can't really have this guy's IG on my computer anymore.
Yeah.
Or the feds are gonna ask like what's going on.
I'll take it back to the TikTok era, kind of 2-3 years ago when it could get a song blow up. Do you remember Russ's song "Handsomer"?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you remember how that blew up?
The like challenge where he's like rap on this verse.
Yeah. So he drops the song. This is just another way, like, because most people aren't going to do this, like skits like this, right? And he's like a pop artist, like everything, like.
But Russ was able to get that to work because he's Russ. This guy is a nobody who is not like.
I think he could have. I think he could have done what Russ did to a smaller scale, and like it would have worked okay. Like 500,000 followers, and like I looked at his Spotify, he was pretty big-ish there. Like I'm sure it would have gained some traction, but like with Russ's, yeah, it was. He put out the song "Handsomer," and then he was like, "Look, I'm gonna drop a remix to the song. You have to duet it, and then whoever drops the meanest verse is gonna be like included in the remix. That's gonna go, live everywhere." And dude, it climbed the charts to #1 and like stayed at the top.
Yeah,
which was pretty sick. Which I think is just another strategy. But I have another portion. I'll go into it after. I think it'll piggyback well off of your playbook. What do you got?
Yeah, that was honestly, I'm shook right now. I don't even know really how to respond.
It was more to be
leading off the podcast with that segment, but like
I told you, bro, it's going to be different.
If you're still with us here, let's get into some tactical marketing.
I think people
playbooks.
will watch that and like will watch that segment, watch his content, and literally just get a good laugh. Like
Yeah.
I showed it to Fives, John, Austin. Everybody's just dying laughing because I think it's what you're saying. Like it's so obnoxiously cringe on purpose.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
like
you can tell that he's fucking around, which I like. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate. Like, I'm someone
Yeah.
who likes a good troll, just like the rest of us. But
It's not like some of the people in Austin that have a run club that we're talking about that like try to be like that on
he's
purpose.
effectively making fun of them.
Yes.
I would
You know what I'm
agree.
saying?
Yeah, he's like making a mockery of influencers. So, have you heard of Goli Nutrition?
I have, yeah.
They're kind of like a really big in retail supplements brand, and they popped off with their apple cider vinegars apple cider vinegar gummies a couple of years ago. And so recently they've actually been going super viral on TikTok Shop. And without beating a dead horse about TikTok Shop, I really wanted to highlight the different tactics they use to go from $0 to $4.1 million in a month in 30 days.
Wow.
All of it was due to these three things. So number one, they created a crazy incentive program. So right now, what is the standard for TikTok is you send an affiliate a DM and you say, hey, would you like to work with us? This is the commission you'll earn. Goli took that another step forward and said, if you're an affiliate and you generate $4,000 in revenue for us, we'll give you a free iPhone. If you're an affiliate and you generate $25,000 for us, we'll give you a Miami retreat. If you're an affiliate who generates $250K, we'll get you a new BMW. So they rolled out this incentive rewards program, which was in addition to the 20% base commission. Now, another key thing they did was they increased the commission rate to 25% once the creator hits 5K in GMV.
What's the standard?
The standard is probably like 15,
Okay.
20%. So the commission rate was good at first, but it increases once you hit, you know, 5K in GMV.
Yeah.
And, you know, this initial promo period was 1 week. So the question is like, how did Goli coordinate this so well? Like, how did they knock the promotion period out the park? It's because they pushed the offer to these creator communities on Discord. So these are communities where 18 to 24-year-old kids will take a course on how to create content that sells on TikTok Shop, how to go viral, all the things that come with it, whether it's hooks, you know, injecting social proof, you name it, mentioning the offer. And because they pushed out this incentive program to this creator community, they were able to have a coordinated rollout. Instead of seeding this to thousands of affiliates, which has kind of been TikTok's, what TikTok recommends you to do, they're like volume, volume, volume. They actually went to these targeted creator communities to get their start. And so because they did that with people that they were able to easily communicate with, then those folks were super highly motivated. They're like, oh, there's a golden goose at the end of this. Like I can get a BMW if I drive this much revenue. Heck yeah. Plus your commission rate. Yeah. Like that's a lick. I mean, you're 100%. Getting a BMW plus $50,000 in commission.
What BMW is it?
It's a X5. Crazy. Which is like their mid-size, like nice, like SUV. And so the third thing is what they understood is that
Wait, sorry. How much did you have to drive to get a BMW?
250 racks.
Okay.
A kid
Checks
got
out.
it. Yeah, he did it. But anyways, so that's like step 1 and 2, right? Is they rolled out the incentive program and then they sent it to all these different creator communities. I think there was 3 total. So because they had really strong creators going viral right off the bat, the third part of their strategy was to seed a massive amount of regular people that are TikTok Shop affiliates, not in these communities, but who are able to create videos and monetize them. And so they sent out samples to 4,900 creators who collectively created 17,000 videos. Wow. So they've had 17,000 videos posted on TikTok in the last 30 days, generating that $3.9 million of revenue. Wow. Absolutely insane.
That is wild.
So, but why did that work? It's because the progression of time, right? So they developed the offer, the incentive structure. That's got to get approved by finance. Goli's like a massive company, right? Like they can't just say like we're giving out a BMW. Like that was probably a 2-month initiative to get buy-in from the team. Second of all is once you roll out that targeted offer to these creators, like they're now so motivated to go off that your chances of going viral, which is what happened, are increased. And what happens then is all of these other affiliates that you seed are that much more likely to try harder because they see that it's moving from the others. And so they're like, okay, maybe I have a chance to make some money here as well. So it's a strategy that really any retail focused brand can emulate if they want to invest in the channel.
I think the smart part about a strategic rollout like this is the fact that you create that manufactured feeling of, damn, why is this brand everywhere I turn?
Yeah.
Like we were just talking with Raw Nutrition, like they have a launch that's going live like September to October. And what we're trying to do is exactly what you're talking about. Is like we're trying to roll out an influencer seeding campaign with certain athletes, et cetera. And it is to create that feeling of like, why is Raw Nutrition fucking everywhere right now?
Yeah.
Especially when I don't know what Goli was doing, but were they just promoting like their top sellers and shit?
Not even. It was just the mixed berry ashwagandha.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which is like I'm pretty sure they blew up for their apple cider vinegar gummies. So,
I know them because of their apple cider vinegar, not the ashwagandha.
Yeah, and I think primarily they were also I think they were pretty focused on women before, and obviously ashwagandha has benefits to both sides more so. The thing about TikTok Shop is it fixes the influencer attribution problem. Like what you just described, any sort of strategy with influencers, you're always going to try and measure with putting together some numbers that don't always fully add up. Whereas with TikTok Shop, all of those numbers are tracked and clearly attributed by creator. So if a creator makes the brand $250,000 from a video and it's on, like, that is directly as a result of that video, versus if an influencer goes viral and you have a spike that day, yes, it's partly due to that video, but you can't directly say through your analytics platform 100%. That it was due to that.
Yeah, what we're trying to do is we're not just trying to do like influencer seeding. I can't like talk about the entire campaign, but it would be during a specific duration of time, and then similar to like there are going to be very big gifts, and those gifts will be based on how much you create or how much content you create around like the central campaign during that 30 days. And the goal isn't to be like tracking how much that influencer drives. It's more so to create as much awareness around Raw Nutrition's new line, which is the endurance line, because like Raw Nutrition is very well known for the bodybuilding space.
Yeah.
Right. You have Chris Bumstead, you have Von Walker, like these big name athletes in the bodybuilding space, but they have such a dialed supplements on the endurance space, and like the athletes that are within their endurance line are champions. Like it's the 50-mile. It's not a crazy sentence to say, like a 50-mile world champion. Like
it's wild.
50 miles just in general is the part I'm getting at. But like Ironman champions, triathlon champions, etc. Like they're all underneath Raw, and so they're really trying to bring a lot of awareness around their endurance line, especially because they have a new site, new landing pages going live, etc. But yeah, the very similar to like in some sense into Goli, I really like the fact that they manufactured more posts by having like these big incentives, right? Like if you go, in this case, it's if you, what is it? If you do 250,000 in revenue, like
get a BMW,
get a BMW, $80,000-$90,000 BMW.
No, I mean so even crazier is they doubled down on it. Like they actually, the next phase of it was like so much bigger. I'm going to talk about that in a second, but another interesting tidbit of this was it was another example of the power law that exists on pretty much any sort of modern day advertising, which is one video is going to really return like as much of your investment as, if you put, Goli spending 4,900 samples, like probably, 50, 60K a month on these creator communities. Like they invested, like $200,000 to $500,000 in this initiative to drive this, $4 million in 30 days. But like a single video got 25 million views and generated 370,000 in revenue. And
that's the guy that got the BMW?
Yeah.
Is it this one that you sent me?
Yeah. And you can watch that real quick because I'm about to break it down, because I actually think like there's so many things in that video that are hallmarks of a quality, high converting ad that people should be considering when they're telling their own story.
Let me watch it.
So my dad's one of the highest paid holistic wellness doctors in the entire country, and this is what he had to say about ashwagandha. First off, there's only one form of ashwagandha you should be taking, and that's KSM-66. If your ashwagandha doesn't have KSM-66, it's garbage, sorry. Studies have shown that KSM-66 is the strongest and most potent form of ashwagandha. Andrew Huberman is also a huge advocate of ashwagandha. This is what he said on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Ashwagandha can potently reduce cortisol.
A study from PubMed found that ashwagandha users experience these 4 benefits: increased memory and attention, better overall well-being, better sleep quality, and reduced cortisol levels. Again, this is backed on research by this published study done in 2023. Once again, ashwagandha can potentially help you chill out. Best form to take is KSM66. I take the gummy form because it's good as shit. World's #1 ashwagandha brand right here, Goli. One of these bottles will usually run you like $25, but if you get it on TikTok Shop in the bottom left, you can get 3 bottles for $30.
So the crazy part is that he's just reading a script. Like, you could tell that boy is just
ripping
staring at the lines. I do like the ending where he's like hitting the CTA and he just has that bottle on his head.
It's perfect. Yeah. I mean, the whole thing is like, it's hallmarks of, these creator communities. So, this one video generated $380,000 in revenue for Goli. And here's really why it worked. Number one, they use second-degree social proof. So think about the concept of, my dad is one of the highest paid holistic doctors in America.
Do you believe him?
No. But all of a sudden you're kind of like, oh, so his dad told him something that I don't have access to that information.
Yeah.
So it kind of gives this perception of, this is unique, like information you can't get elsewhere. Number 2, his hook is tied to a burning question. Like, what is the number one thing you're curious about with ashwagandha? Does it work? Right? This is a supplement with a lot of hype about it. And supplements is a murky industry on its own. Like, the video is saying, this is what ashwagandha does according to a doctor. So he's using that social proof to answer this burning question about a supplement. The third component is he's ungatekeeping very specific information. So the only form of ashwagandha you should use is KSM6. Okay, all of a sudden that feels novel, unique, and it could explain why ashwagandha didn't work for you in the past, but it worked for others, and why it keeps getting talked about. Like, I think that experience happens for a lot of people. They try a supplement that they heard about and it doesn't do anything for them. And so reactivating that interest comes from that unique information. Like, oh, you tried ashwagandha, but it wasn't KSM6? Well, probably didn't work for you, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you can multiply that across almost any sort of beauty product, any sort of anything. Like, if it's a beauty product, and like, I think about this with one of my brands, they have a vitamin C oil that apparently, like, vitamin C doesn't get absorbed into the skin unless it's created in the way that brand does it. It's like, I would have never known that information. And so we put that into their marketing messaging. Number 4, he throws in a convincing line from another second-degree source, the Huberman thing. Like, once he makes his point about KSM6 being the important thing, he very quickly pivots to, and this is what Andrew Huberman has to say about ashwagandha. So you're like, oh, Huberman says it must be true. And he, right after, injects a clinical study, just like flashes it on screen. Yeah. Who knows where that's from? And so at the very end of it, like, once, you're 35 seconds in, he's got you, right? Like, you want ashwagandha, you want to know where you can get it. He just drives a sale with an ultimate offer. Like, usually this is $25, but you can get 3 for $30 right now on TikTok Shop. Just go buy. And like, that is exactly how you drive an insane amount of revenue and go viral with a video. All of those components got to be present to tell the story, to convince the person that they're not getting screwed, and then to drive that purchase action at the very end of it. So
overall, yeah, it's crazy. It reminds me of that hook that a lot of people have been using now. That's like, my mom was a Victoria's Secret model for 32 years, and this is everything that they made her.
Don't even get me started.
I know
on
the
Land Force.
Was that what Land Force posted?
Off of my shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But that's on me though. That's on me for not posting. But let the record show. I was 6 weeks before it.
They call you Cousin Brian in the group chat.
Yeah.
Cousin Brian.
I mean, I'm a gold mine for the homies. Like, if you want ideas to go viral, like, I'll just give them out, and then you can post them 6 weeks later when everyone's hip to it.
There was another one that I don't remember what it was, but there was something else that you talked about, and then somebody else posted about it, and it went. I don't remember what it was, but
I mean, it used to be happening all the time last year when I really was incognito on the platforms.
On the platform.
But so the last thing I want to talk about is, there's a lot of questions that I get about TikTok Shop as a platform. Is it worth it? Yada, yada. And working with these creator communities is a crazy hack to get traction quickly on TikTok Shop. Like, they help you cut the line so much from having to work with thousands of affiliates to working with dedicated creators who are only focused on your brand. So these are a bunch of 18 to 24-year-old kids who are going through training on how to make a viral video that sells product. And most of the other affiliates you're working with don't go through training. They're just kind of YOLOing, putting stuff on their feed. And so like this allows you to gently steer towards more quality through like the quantity of videos you're getting. Like if you're getting a massive quantity and 10% of them suck or 10% of them are good, think about the improvement in performance if 15% of those are good or 20% of those are good. So working with these creator communities is really like the biggest way to kind of nudge your affiliate program towards that. Another crazy tidbit. So Goli ran that incentive program for 2 weeks in August, and now they're running it for the entire month of September. Here's the new rewards. If you drive 1.2 million in GMV, crazy number, you can win a Miami condo or a Lamborghini Urus.
What would you pick
In that scenario? I mean, probably the condo.
Okay, I was hoping so.
Yeah. Condo,
Yeah.
I mean, look, you got a place in Miami you can go pull up. I mean, that'd be fun.
You go in your, what is it, Tiguan?
Come on, bro. leave it be. So why does Goli give away pretty much all of their profit on TikTok Shop in order to grow? It's because the spillover to other platforms is so huge. So 6 months ago, Goli had a very steady amount of search volume on Google. It was around 30, which is Google's index is 1 out of 30. Yeah. For the last 4 weeks, it's been hovering anywhere from 90 to 100. So they 3x the search volume that they're having on other platforms. You can imagine something similar happening in Amazon. So they're giving away their entire profit margin, which is probably, on a $25 jar of gummies, probably like 80, 90%. They're giving away massive amounts of commission, all these prizes, TikTok's fees, ad costs, all that stuff. They're giving it away because the spillover is so aggressive onto other platforms. And it's a proven strategy. If you just go viral at break even on TikTok, then you're going to see a lot of that revenue get captured on the other platforms like Google, Amazon, and retail.
So let me show you how you can grow your brand like Erewhon. So let's be real, a 6-year-old brand integrating influencer marketing into their strategy. It's pretty interesting. So the idea is then what's stopping your brand from doing the same thing? I get it. Sourcing and sealing deals with influencers is a nightmare. Using spreadsheets, we know that's not easy. And tracking deliverables is insanely tedious. And most of the time, influencers just drop the ball. But here's the thing. It's 2024 and we have way better solutions than what we did even a year ago, and definitely in comparison to what we had 10 years ago. And that's where SARAL comes in. Because with SARAL, you can build a list of influencers. So think of like a CRM, but for influencer marketing. You can send out automated outreach sequences, and you could create and track relationships at different stages of the funnel. Working with a top of funnel influencer versus a bottom of funnel influencer is a different thing, and they have different requirements and different content needs. But here's the craziest part for brands like yours. And that's that brands that are working with SARAL are averaging a 5x ROAS, which is nearly double what most brands are seeing on Facebook right now. So here's the thing. If you want to take it for a spin, we got you a free trial via Sweat Equity. And all you got to do is click the link that I put in my bio. You'll also see the link right here. And trust me when I say it's the only tool you really need to build out a good and robust influencer marketing program. So check it out. Let me know how you like it and try it for free.
I think that's what we even saw and we talked about months and months ago about like Olipop.
Yeah.
When they kind of did the same thing.
Absolutely.
Before. I don't know if TikTok Shop was, I don't think it was around when they first did it, but it was like, hey, we're just going to take all of our spend from paid ads and put it all into TikTok or TikTok creators.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing. Like the search volume skyrocketed, and then it influenced how much it was taken off the shelves in retail.
Yeah.
Right. It was like the velocity that it was selling out in retail 8x.
Yeah.
Like that is not a normal number. And it all started and stemmed from what they did on TikTok. And so, yeah, like even just to piggyback off of it, it's like what I've learned from just reading case studies and a lot of what you have talked about as well is like TikTok is probably the best platform for increasing search volume.
Yeah.
More than Instagram, more than, let's even say like Facebook Reels or LinkedIn or anything like that. Like if there's one that's going to impact organic search volume, it's going to be TikTok. And there's a big effect from something like that. If you do have SEO in place and you do start getting organic search volume, like you're going to start ranking a lot quicker and
Absolutely.
like a lot quicker and higher because of that search volume, because your domain rating, et cetera, is only going to increase. So there's a lot of benefits that people don't talk about of increasing search volume and how it has a downstream effect, kind of like you're talking about now, of how it affects every other channel.
Yeah. I mean, domain authority and just generally training algorithms that you exist is like really powerful.
Huge.
And Olipop is a great example of this, but there's several brands like Guru Nanda, Snow Teeth White. Like there's a lot of brands that have kind of taken this strategy where they blow up on TikTok, and then you can validate the search volume. Google Trends is obviously a public free platform. Like you can validate these inflection points where they take over a platform, and then there's a sustained boost in search for about 2 months.
Big time.
And it, to your point, it's on the brand to be able to capture that new demand. Like you have retargeting in place. You have Google Shopping based around your branded search. Like you have all these different things to be able to retarget down the road. It's on you to figure that out. But it's just, it's not a platform that you should be looking at as like a lot of these really big brands are way less profitable than people think. And they're banking on the capture on the back end of it. And so I've got several brands that are profitable more in like the low 6-figure range, but not like the 4 million. The 4 million range, it's like they're seeding so many creators, they're spending so much money on ads, and they're giving away so much in discounts. Like if your product is normally $25 and you're doing a 3-pack for $30, that's insane.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. What is that? 60, 70% off?
It's a lot.
Terrible public math. But so it's just a lot of people ask also, like, as an emerging brand, how can you do this? And I think that's where you want to start looking at these creator communities as an investment versus sending out a bunch of your samples.
So like, where do you find some of these creator communities?
Yeah, they're actually all over Twitter. You can really find like these people pretty quickly when you know what nooks and crannies to look in social. Mostly they exist on Discord. And there's just like a group chat of like all these crazy kids like throwing. It's like,
it sounds like a shit show just because.
Oh my gosh,
Discord.
I
hate Discord.
I've heard about the inside operations of a lot of them, and it's like, it's exactly what you'd expect, but they're highly effective and they work very well. So super interesting. But yeah.
So like piggybacking off of that, you were talking about all of like these, for example, all these different narratives and pain points around ashwagandha, et cetera. And it works perfectly kind of with this next segment that I'm going to be talking about, where last year was a lot about like scaling the creative, right? If you wanted to win on paid ads, you had to be able to shoot out creative nonstop, week over week, month over month. And what I think is changing now is that these brands have to be able to scale funnels. And let me explain. So in the past, again, you were just trying to get as much ad creative as possible. And then you had like 1 or 2, maybe 3 landing pages that you were sending all of your traffic to. And I think like to shout out even like Raba and Vermont, for example, they make it very easy for you to now build landing pages and funnels very quickly. And so now what you're doing is you're creating an experience around a specific pain point. You're creating another experience around a specific narrative, et cetera. So the key to creating funnels, the key to creating 8-figure funnels is really these 3 things. The first is understanding the pain points. So taking the why behind your product and amplifying them. 2 is the benefits. This is really the removal of the pain point. Number 3 is the narrative. So the stories that the consumers want to experience. And if we even take Goli, the example I had here initially was athletic greens, but like if we take Goli and we take their ashwagandha, right? The pain point is somebody could be living with anxiety 24/7. That is a pain point, right? And so with that, you would then create a landing page dedicated. Well, if you already have the ad, if you already have an ad dedicated to talking about how somebody's facing anxiety 24/7, the landing page is like the scaled version of that, right? Here's the 30-second version. Here's the scaled version that takes you between, that explains the problem, how it's going to be, how we solve it, the science behind it, how the ingredient works, all of that, social proof, etc. That is now you scaling the experience. The benefit is the removal of the pain point, right? So go from a anxiety, how would I frame this? Go from living with an anxiety to living stress-free, right? That is now the benefit of the product. But that needs its own experience. That needs its own landing page. That needs its own email and SMS. And again, this is another funnel. Then the narrative is that story, right? That the thing that somebody wants to experience. And that could be something like, I haven't had an anxiety attack in 30 days, right? And that now is its own funnel. And so what do you do with this? And I mean, I'm going to kind of bring it all together. It's like, so what do you do with this information? The first thing is you're going to write down 3 to 5 pain points, 3 to 5 benefits, and 3 to 5 narratives around your products. You can find these in reviews, frequently asked questions, Twitter, Reddit, etc. Next is turning these into experiences. What I mean by that is you're going to want to templatize a landing page, an email sequence, your email opt-ins, your SMS sequences, your abandoned cart, etc., to match whatever whatever the starting point is. So if the starting point is a specific pain point, then you want to make sure that, again, if you are talking about dealing with anxiety, then the landing page is all about dealing with anxiety. The email opt-in is, hey, how to remove anxiety in 45 days. And then when they go down an email sequence, it is, again, it's tailored to that entire thing. Because a lot of times what happens is you'll get hit with an ad, you go to a landing page that now feels like a completely different story, right? So you get hit with an ad about anxiety. Then you hit the landing page for example, like it's something like ashwagandha, and it's all about being stress-free. Those are two different things. And then the email opt-in is, something related to buy one, get one, or something that's like, again, not really relevant. And so now you're telling 3 different stories versus one cohesive story, which is AKA like that experience that I'm trying to get people to understand. And really the way to do this is to map out templates for each one of those.
Yeah.
And then you start, when you start piecing together this funnel, you start with what is the core of that funnel.
Yeah.
You're able to cement that in the middle, and then you build around that. The reason I even bring this up is we've been working with a ton of clients that talking about like, oh, we want landing pages, and like that is a central theme that we're hearing. And what we're trying to get people to understand is you're really trying to build experiences around certain products. Again, if we go back to Raw Nutrition, for example, like Raw has products that are made for bodybuilders, then they have products made for endurance athletes. If I land on a website from an ad for bodybuilders, I don't want to be going down an email flow made for endurance athletes,
right?
Or vice versa.
Yeah.
At that point, you're killing your conversion rate.
Well, it's like the classic, this happens in apparel ads like times a million, where they'll show you like a pair of jeans that's crazy fire,
Yes.
and then take you to just like the shop all page, and
Yes.
you got to find
like the
jeans.
catalog page
Yeah.
or whatever.
It's cohesiveness through the funnel is super important. And when you were talking about the endurance versus the bodybuilder, even, you niche down from audience as well to angle. And through the angle, it's like you have a specific story. So like if you're a bodybuilder who's struggling to recover, and so, your supplement is audience related to bodybuilders, angle is related to recovery. What I would even experiment, especially with a tool like Vermont, which allows you to scale this up easily, is you would want to go next into what is the specific story about recovery, like the struggle that's being overcome.
Yeah.
And then you talk about like kind of the 2nd degree social proof stuff too. Like, who told you about this solution? Like, there's a matrix that you can start to build when you start to break out all these components of what makes a winning angle audience combination. And so like get dialed with the angle, the audience, but also like what are those specific stories within
100%.
recovery? Like you should probably have 3 stories within the bodybuilder recovery matrix that you can then experiment which one of those resonates with as well.
100%. And that's what I had here. It's like, what are those narrative? What are those stories that consumers want to experience? And then you reverse engineer there. And I think the other thing too is by creating these different experiences, you're able to then segment your customer base. And if you are putting a ton of money into paid ads, that segmentation is going to pay off tenfold when when we're looking at like a lookalike audience and versus giving them 100,000 people. I get to give Facebook or Meta 15,000 people that are all endurance based, or they're all interested in ashwagandha or relieving anxiety. Like that data is is so much more impactful than just giving them 100,000 people, I think. And then the second part is, dude, anytime you launch another product that's related to that pain point or that benefit or that narrative, you already have a perfectly segmented list to talk to.
100%.
And I think that's why, like, for example, quiz funnels are so effective. And I think still underrated. I think Jones Road Beauty, they did a really good one 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Where they were able to collect so much data on the back end of, hey, like what skin problems do you have? What kind of shades look better on you? XYZ. That then they were able to say, hey, we basically have all of these different pain points, all of these different things that these individuals want, their favorite products, yada, yada, that then they're able to go say, okay, this person needs this kind of email sequence. This one needs this one. This one needs this one. And now you just create an entire tailored experience around what that person wants and needs.
Yeah.
And that's like
first-party
true
data.
marketing. When you really like bring it down to
Yeah.
the root, it's like that's true marketing, is being able to speak to the right person at the right time and sell them the right product.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think, first party data is probably something that we don't talk about enough on this podcast because we're big like growth guys versus retention guys, like email folks, SMS folks. They're always collecting information to send targeted offers and that sort of thing. But it also guides your product decisions and also guides like where to invest your money, I think. I think about the Ridge guy,
Sean?
yeah, he, the Ridge guy, Sean Frank or whatever, like he always talks about the conviction they had going into new markets. Like they started with wallets and then they went into watches, they went into suitcases, and it's because he had this publication called Everyday Carry that they bought, which was kind of like a blog site. And so I'm pretty sure they collected a lot of information from that mailing list and from that site traffic on what were these areas where there was kind of a gap where they could actually take advantage of. Like, men were not getting serviced products that were actually made for them. Like Away luggage, for example, doesn't specifically tailor it to men. They appeal to men, but they're not very specific about it. And so there was an opportunity for a very male-focused brand to come in and take that market share. So just one little example of it.
Have you ever listened to any podcast with Sean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's interesting to see how what is it? It's like men's accessory is such like a small market but big market at the same time, and like there's no big players in the space, and it's interesting how they're trying to.
There's another guy, him and another guy, Zach Stuck, were going back and forth on Twitter about like
I know who that.
What Zach was like founder of Homestead, which is like a big growth studio.
That was recent. That was like last week or 2 weeks.
Yeah, they were like go back, because he runs a sock brand.
Yeah,
which you would kind of think like, oh, what, socks? Like not a great category. And it's like, actually, now that I think about it, like all I wear is like Nike socks. Like I literally just wear Nike socks.
Yeah.
I don't have any other socks. And I'm kind of down for like another reasonable alternative, but Bombas and like all these other ones seem to be they're just really expensive. And so what he was able to do is he locked in on like huge TAM, huge target addressable market, $100 AOV. So like that's also, I think, very important because it allows you the wiggle room to have a lot of margin with a $35 to $50 customer acquisition costs. Like you can't just you could never win selling socks if your AOV was $30.
Yeah.
But you can do it if you're selling $100 to $200 bulk orders from people who are like, actually, fuck it. Like I like these socks and I'm just trying to wear them for the rest of the time. And probably a good customer too, LTV wise, lifetime value, because when you refresh socks, where are you going to go? Like I've just spent probably like $60 at Dick's Sporting Goods once every 18 months for the last like decade of my life.
Similar to you, I only wear Nike socks.
Yeah.
What I've been having to do though is, because I've been like buying Asics and buying New Balances and shit like that, I've been having to get like,
you got to go no logo.
100%.
And it's like, what's the arbitrage opportunity?
Yeah.
It's like the fact that Nike is losing the shoe war.
Yeah.
You can't go Nike on Nike anymore. Like
Yeah.
all the swaggy shoes are like elsewhere. And so like you got to have
Isn't
blanks.
it crazy that it's very, I don't want to say it's very rare to see people in Nikes, because it's not. But it's not like I'm not seeing as many people in Dunks, in Jordans,
It's just
in
not
Nikes.
It's not the same tastemakers that it used to be. Like now Nike is kind of like a default brand. It's not premium, in my opinion. Like I think they've become like very.
What do I got on?
What?
I don't.
I
was trying to see what I got on.
got the.
You have New
Nudies.
Balances, right?
I think I mean, I think this is about Apple too. I was trying to get my phone. My phone went out on me on Saturday, and I was like, okay, I got to go to the Apple store. That was my first thought.
That's why you didn't text me back.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't because I was at the UT game. But no, it was startling because my phone went out. And so in the good old days, you would go to Apple store and have this magical experience at the Genius Bar. Like you go, you deal with someone that is like, very like personable, conversational, whatever. And instead they're like, no, you go to this authorized service provider. And it's like this, which was nice because it was this place right around the corner from me, but there was no touch of magic like you had with the brand experience before. Like Apple's store used to be this kind of cool thing where like, oh, well, my phone's getting serviced, I'm gonna go play with the new iPad.
Apple used to be, remember how like as kids you'd go in a Sharper Image?
Yes.
And it would be like a whole experience because it was like all
Right.
these gadgets that you have never used in your life. And
Yeah.
then as you're growing up, it's like, oh, you go to Apple. And even if even though you have an iMac, it's like, oh, I want to play on the new iMac or the new iPad.
Or the Vision Pro for,
yeah.
you know,
Oh, I
like,
forgot about the Vision
but
Pro.
like, yeah, so did everybody.
Yeah.
But like, it's crazy how now they don't even care about you having that experience anymore.
Tim Cook, man.
Doesn't give a fuck about you, but he'll take your dollars. That's for sure.
And the thing is, like, I'm not going to get off my iPhone.
If they didn't have iMessage, I actually think they'd be cashed. I'm not gonna lie. That's like my bold take.
I agree. That it's because it plays back into like enemy marketing.
Yeah.
When Vanessa and I first dated, I said you have to get an iPhone or else she was an
on that
Android
green?
girl. She was an Android girl, and I was like, we got to change this.
Yeah.
Well, shit, guys. That's a wrap on the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please, if you did enjoy it, if you got a lot of gain from this, please like, subscribe. We are gonna get hats out. I know we've been talking about it for a minute now.
You're kind of fucking with people like throwing the hat on every few episodes, and they see it and they're like, I want that hat.
The new ones are even cooler.
We all
This
can't
was
wait to see
V1.
them.
This was V1.
Yeah.
The new ones are even cooler. But
I
the
mean,
guy
in the
that,
time that you've been talking about the hats, Oren has shipped like 7 different hat variations.
yeah, he's launching an apparel brand.
I know. I'm just saying. So are we. Shit, we got to do something with this trademark.
It's merch. Oh yeah. See, that was the other part. We had to.
No, we
I
gotta
couldn't do
have
the hats because we were fighting this trademark, and
We'll have
you know
a
there
whole
was
bit
a
on that one.
legit. You know.
Yeah, we'll have a whole bit on that one once the check clears. 'Cause
Yeah, once it clears.
We gotta. Maybe we'll do a how we'd grow on the former.
Former sweat
podcasts.
equity. We should.
Yeah, that would be like just don't actually.
But that's a wrap, guys. Appreciate it.